Well, here we go with some more. Again, Wolf Street, wolfstreet.com. What truckers and railroads just said about the U.S. economy. It's cyclical. No kidding. Boom and bust period, or the business cycle. Again, because the way our system is designed, this debt-based system, and these peaks and bubbles that pop, and then when they pop, they affect other things, and the people slow down, work slows down, all because of these bubbles. Bubbles, bubbles, where's the bubble? Over there, Mr. Wonka. That's button. Button, button, where's the button? Up until all this time, Charlie, I've popped all those bubbles. Real estate, double housing bubble, debt cycle, but the red one. I've never pressed the red one, Charlie. Go ahead. Press the button. That's okay, Mr. Wonka. I don't like the sound of a red bubble being popped. Anyways, the transportation sector, and here's the thing with Wolf Street. Beautiful charts, data. I mean, he's got it all. I just don't post it all the time because I know a lot of people like to listen to me rather than watch. They just want to hear what's going on. Just keep me up to date. Okay, they don't need to see it. But I do like Wolf Richter on Wolf Street a lot because he really puts a good effort into this. The transportation sector is a reflection of the goods-based economy, and the U.S. demand has been blistering across all modes of transportation. Freight shipment volume, not pricing. We'll get to pricing in a moment. By truck, rail, air, and barge, according to the Case Freight Index, jumped 10.6% in July compared to a year earlier. This pushed the index, which is not seasonally adjusted, to its highest levels for July since 2007. The dynamics in the transportation sector are clearly signaling that the U.S. economy, at least for now, is ignoring all of the angst coming out of Washington, D.C. about the trade wars, the report by Cass says. The Cass Shipments Index does not include shipments of bulk commodities, such as grains or chemicals, but shipments of commodities were strong too, according to the Association of American Railroads. Excluding the carload category of coal, which is facing a structural decline in the U.S., carloads rose by 6.7% year over year, including grain up 14.7%, petroleum and petroleum products up 27%, and chemicals up 4.6%. Again, is this a Trump thing? We talking Trump or what? A little Trump bump? What do we got? Of the 20 commodity carload categories, only 5 showed declines, including non-metallic minerals, metallic ores, and the biggie, coal. In intermodal traffic, shipments of containers and trailers via a combination of rail and trucks surged 6.9% in July compared to July of last year, the AAR reported. The pop in the Cass Shipments Index of 10.6% was the 6th double-digit increase so far this year. Only June had come in with a single-digit increase, 7.2%. Capacity in trucking is very tight. Some of the squeeze, especially among small trucking companies earlier this year, was triggered by the newly required electronic logging devices that record drive times by truckers and thus help enforce the legal hourly limits truckers can drive. This hurt capacity and utilization earlier this year, but Cass points out many of the truckers most adversely affected are now beginning to get some of the loss in utilization back, but especially in the dry van and reefer or temperature control marketplaces. The reefer, I thought it was talking about something else. No. The flatbed segment of trucking, however, is continuing to struggle with productivity after the adoption of ELDs, or again those, electronic logging devices. Under pressure from this demand from shippers, tight capacity, and rising costs of diesel, pricing has been surging across the board. The Cass Truckload Line Haul Index, which tracks per mile full truckload pricing, but does not include fuel or fuel surcharges, and is therefore not impacted by diesel price increases, jumped 10.2% in July, the largest year-over-year increase in the data going back to 2005. One of the factors in creating pricing pressures is diesel. The U.S. average retail price of diesel rose 24% at the end of July, $3.23 a gallon, from a year ago, according to EIA data. but remained substantially below the range of the years before the oil bust. The Cass Intermodal Price Index, which includes fuel prices, jumped 12% in June compared to a year ago, the 22nd month in a row of year-over-year increases, and the sharpest year-over-year increase since July 2011. In aggregate, across all modes of transportation, the amount companies spent on shipping soared by 17.9% in July compared to July last year, according to the Case Freight Expenditure Index. This surge is a function of higher prices and fuel surcharges, as well as higher shipment volumes at those higher prices. Retail sales, particularly e-commerce sales, have been strong all year. In July, retail sales jumped 6.4% from a year ago. So that's one of these things where I don't go, such and such store bit the dust. Nope. E-commerce, the Amazons of the world. That explains part of the surge in transportation demand, but industrial demand is hot too. The Census Bureau reported yesterday that the combined value of distributive trade sales and manufacturer shipments for June, so lagging a month behind, that's as close as we can get, jumped 8.2% year over year. So there's a bit more to this, but it sure looks like, the trucking sector, again, would we be experiencing another downfall? The boom and bust cycle, here we go. And it's looking like, again, maybe this is Trump's thing. I just did the video about 1.5 trillion coming back, into the U.S. and all that, of which 400 billion is already here. So it does appear to be cyclical, but, and it's the volume too. Like the main thing, they're showing the volume's down. Shipping volume by truck, rail, barge, whatever, it's actually down now, but it's only showing this particular year, from January to December. Is this a yearly thing that looks the same way? But it shows, well, wait a minute, no, there's all the years right there, which basically goes case in point of what they're saying. This isn't one thing or another. This is cyclical. Going back to 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. In case you want to see it, there's the chart. And that's 2018. And there's the rest of the years, 2012, 13, 14, all these different colored ones. So, all this talk about, Trump and good or bad, I guess I should say, to be fair here, doesn't really matter. This is a cyclical thing. Except the only problem is these damn gas prices. I know they're down, recent times. Where's that chart at? Yeah, price per gallon. Here's that chart. Average diesel retail price, 2011. Stayed up for a while, quite a few years. Then came back down in 2016, which I'll be honest, I don't remember this. $2 a gallon in 2016. And I'm talking diesel, which means gasoline's going to be even a little bit cheaper than that, because diesel's usually a little higher than gas. That's kind of odd. Anyways, not the most exciting video of the day, but it is what it is. Keeping you up to date with some stats. Take care.